What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Welcome in. Dangle Bet Celly officially live here on our FTN Network YouTube page. Chris Meaney and Eric Young here with you. My apologies off the top here. This is my fault why we're pushed back here this morning. Power outage, no snow. I saw a couple comments that I must be snowed in. Of course, north of the border, you would assume that I would be snowed in, but crazy windstorm yesterday throughout last night and into this morning. And I don't know, man, I've had some bad luck over the past little bit when it comes to power outages. So we're going to win some bets today. We're going to buy a couple generators and we'll be on time every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern. That's the goal moving forward. EY, welcome in. 11 games on the ice. What's up, good? What's up, my man?
Yeah, good to be on, man. Obviously, we were both ready to go this morning, and Mother Nature, she doesn't care that you got a podcast to do. So here we are. We've been talking about this a ton. Like, we are nothing without the fans of the show. But listen, guys, if you're hearing my voice, if you're seeing this screen, you've got to support the show. You've got to rate and review. It's just how the world works. Like, look, I listen to tons of different podcasts, and I'm constantly subscribing to them, even if I don't listen all the time. I'm reviewing them. If I really like them, I'm obviously giving them 5-star reviews because this is how they stay relevant and stay up to date. We love doing it. We love this community of people, but we need your guys' help. And there's tons of guys that have done it. I thank you. Please do it again. Ask your family to do it or do it for them. It's me and Chris are not above cheating the system because the system is flawed and the system is messed up. This is a very well received podcast with tons of viewers, in the hockey space and the betting space. But the truth is it just seems to be never enough. So please, guys, rate and review. Give us a 5-star on Spotify, on iTunes. Those are the ones that really make the difference. And spread the good word. We need all the help we can get.
Yeah, in the comment section when you review, just tell them that I'm a shit show, and I'm usually on time, but all good. Jokes aside, should we do a giveaway? Like, 'tis the season for giveaways. Should we give?
Is there a better time of year?
Yeah, I don't think there is. This is the season for giveaways here today, and I'm getting sidetracked here, getting a phone call. Let's do a giveaway. A lot of people have already that have hung out with us here over the last couple of years, even going back to 4-stack lines. We've had your guys' support and we appreciate that. You guys have already showed us that you've rated, you reviewed, you've subscribed, you're sharing the show, you're liking, you're commenting. We love that. We support it. Let's do a giveaway here. I'm just kind of thinking about this. I think we should give away an NHL jersey to somebody. 'Tis the season for a giveaway, as we mentioned. And I know some people have already done what you have asked, but we're asking it again, I suppose. A couple things. I
wish we didn't have to. And I wish, the world didn't rely on this and people watching it was enough. But it's not. It's just this, like I said, the system is backwards. The system is flawed in every way, shape, and form. But you've got to rate and review. It's how the messed up algorithm counts things. They don't care even if there's millions of people watching this. And I assure you that's not the case. But thousands of people watch this and it's not enough. They don't care.
And this is what we're going to do. All we're asking for you guys to do is subscribe to the YouTube page. And then on iTunes or Spotify, wherever it is that you listen to your podcasts, in Spotify, it's super easy. You can just follow, you can hit 5 stars. It takes 2 seconds. I think there's a little bit more work to do on iTunes, but just show us that you've subscribed to our FTN Network YouTube page and as well as iTunes and Spotify with a rate review. Send me a screenshot. Has to be email meanstreetsftn@gmail.com, meanstreetsftn@gmail.com. I'll put a description. I'll put everything that you need to do inside the description of this video once we are done. Send that over, and it's that simple. Your name's going to be in a draw. We'll draw on Thursday. We'll draw a name on Thursday, and we'll give an NHL jersey away to whatever player you want. Whatever player you want, we'll make that happen for you, and we'll also give you an FTN bet subscription if you don't already have one. That will be locked in for sure. In fact, maybe we'll just give it to the top 3 guys. We'll draw 3 names. Last person we draw will win the jersey, and then the top 3 will get a subscription over at ftnbets.com. Picks across all sports, projections, tools, it's all there for you. Let's get going here though, because people have waited long enough for some picks and some props. Want to say what up to the crew as we normally do. Jazz, we're ready. Crusader is ready. Crusader's got some picks and some props there for us already. Daily Handle Jordan Allen is in here as well. Rate, review, subscribe, and Channing Brown in here as well. And then we just have people like this who I don't know. This is a hockey show, but if you want to pick on the Eagles, then I'm sure there's a Reddit thread out there for some people who will care a little bit more. Let's get after it. Where do you want to start?
I mean, we've got
11 games on the
litter. I mean, Rangers in Toronto is a perfectly good location.
Toronto it is. Let's go to the hockey mecca of the world, I suppose some people like to call it. The Maple Leafs at home against the Rangers here. 6.5 is the total. We did have a surprise Austin Matthews scratch right the last time the Leafs did play, and it was a big Max Domi game. A huge Max Domi game, had a couple points, I think a 3-point night. I do believe Austin Matthews is ready to go here tonight. Basically a pick 'em here between the Rangers and the Maple Leafs. The Leafs checking it at -102 using our parlay calculator, free tool over at ftmbets.com. That number is from DraftKings, and the Rangers checking it at -112 over at Bet Rivers. And the total's 6.5. I feel like we're going to see some goals. When these two teams played each other like a few days ago, we saw a lot of goals. Shesterkin hasn't been great. I know Martin Jones picked up the shutout the other night, but I'm not fully believing in that. I don't think you are either. So I think we'll see some offense here. Mika Zibanejad has been really good over the past couple of weeks. Panarin's been consistent all year long. I think Marner's I feel like he's turned his game around as well. I like the over. I'm split on a side. Kind of lean with maybe the Rangers here on the road. But I do like some goals scored in this game. Where are you at?
I'm going to go with the Leafs at home. I mean, no surprise. You're against the Leafs. I'm for the Leafs. If Matthews plays, I believe that he will. I think there's definitely some kind of a bug going through that room, going through everywhere. I mean, I'm sick. Yeah. Everybody's sick. It's just that time of year. But often when these guys these guys play with broken ribs and fractured wrists and all this other stuff. So if they don't play because they're sick, that means they're sick, man. Like I'm talking.
Oh yeah,
stand up.
They're not Michael Jordan flu games or maybe Jalen Hurts trying to tough it out last night. These guys
are sick. They're actually sick. Especially when someone like Matthew Matthews, like the team depends on him. He's the number one center on the first line in the power play, whatever the offense flows through him. I think we see him play tonight. I'm going to go with him and Martin to score. Obviously, I would have to pivot if Matthews doesn't play, but I think that he will. There is no information to support that at this point, even though it's past 3:00 in the afternoon. But on the Rangers side, like you said, Panarin's been playing great, and I think maybe the most consistent player for them has been Chris Kreider. He's been, again, pretty consistent all year, playing on that top line, doing everything that he needs to do. A player that I've liked for a long time. So I'm going Kreider, Panarin on the New York side, Matthews, Marner on the Maple Leaf side.
Yeah, I like the Kreider call. I got Mika Zibanejad. I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand, right, with these two. I got a same game parlay with those guys to pick up a point. That one's been pretty good for us lately. And we'll just wait and see on I believe Matthews is good to go. Marner has been pretty good recently. I'm going to have some sort of same game parlay with basically the entire top six on both sides. I'll probably leave Lafreniere out of there, and Matthew Nyes. I'll have, some single points and eat some juice on Marner, Matthews, and William Nylander, and get involved with Tavares as well. I think that's a guy that I'm interested in from a shot prop standpoint, because the other guys are a little bit like asking for 5 shots across the board is tough for some of the other players like Nylander and Matthews, but 3.5, I think, is a number that I can get behind for John Tavares. But I do like Mika Zibanejad here to pot one, score a goal. We'll move on. We'll move on from that one. Seth is looking to get the taste out of the Eagles taste. I mean, it was a tough loss if you're a Birds guy, but I think we racked up a lot of units last night in the NFL. I believe we went 10-2 in that game. We had Seattle in the under. We had Kenneth Walker attempts, rushing yards, receptions, receiving yards, DeAndre Swift attempts and rushing yards. And we also had DK and Devontae Smith. So overall, from a betting standpoint, it was a very successful game. And the Eagles, the one thing we'll say is that they still somehow control their own destiny. If they win out, they will win the division. But my goodness, this 3-game losing streak seems a lot more significant than the Niners one earlier in the season. But we'll keep the hockey talk going here. Let's head on over to. We don't have a board for all games here, and Troy was in here earlier. I saw some comments, and Hammerhead loves to mention the Eagles to me. I saw that comment earlier, dude. But I like that you doubled down. Troy was in here talking about the Blue Jackets earlier this morning, and he would be proud of me because we have the free article over at ftmbets.com, and I believe I'd led with the Blue Jacket. I led with Benson. I got 2 guys in here from this game that I like, and I'll toss it over to you in a second for some goals. Zach Benson for the Sabres. First of all, you see the odds. It's basically a pick 'em. The odds have changed considerably here. So we have the Buffalo Sabres as pretty big favorites. Interesting. Minus 182, and Columbus checking in up plus 153. I got to get the live number for that. Has that changed at all? I thought I saw. Yeah, it's a little bit of money coming in on Columbus over the past little bit, but plus 160 for the Blue Jackets and minus 185 for the Sabres. Okay, I want to talk about Zach Benson quickly for a second. Really impressed me in the Sabres 3-game road trip last week. Has my attention to the betting market here, and also wrote about him on the free fantasy hockey article over at ftmfantasy.com every Sunday. So he's promoted to the top line. Tuck returned. They put Tage Thompson and Tuck back together. They had Zach Benson on that top line. He scored 2 goals. He had an assist, hit 10 shots, and those over the 3 games. He scored against good opponents, too, on the road, in Vegas, in Colorado. A much easier matchup. Troy doesn't want to hear it, but it is an easier matchup against the Blue Jackets. Over the last month of the season, Columbus second in the NHL in shot attempts allowed, first in shots, and 5th in scoring chances at 5 and 5 per 60 from our friends over at Natural Stat Trick, and they have the second highest expected goals against rate over that span as well. This is a good player, right? 13th overall pick in last season, 2023. Upside to maybe stay inside the top 6, even when Skinner does return, but there's no Skinner, so he's getting a boost in ice time, right? The minutes have been there for him over the past couple of days, so I like him for a point. It's one of my favorite plays of the night. Minus 110 for a point. For Zach Benson, that's over at DraftKings. And then Troy's boy, he's always talking about Igor Chinnikov. He's plus 120 over at DraftKings for a point. He enters tonight on a 4-game goal scoring streak. He's got 5 goals and 7 points, 2 power play points and 11 shots over that span. 3rd-year forward, nice boost in ice time lately. EY, no Patrick Laine, no Boone Jenner. He averaged 13 minutes per game over the first 13 games in November, and through 8 games in December. He's averaging over 16 minutes per game. He's played 19 in back-to-back games. He's on the first power play, and he's got 8 through 8 games in December. He's got 5 goals and 7 points. He's plus 120 at DraftKings for a point. So Chinnikov 120 for a point. We got Benson minus 110 for a point. I got Dahlin for 3 shots at minus 125 at BetMGM. I got JJ Peterka for 3 shots at Caesars at minus 139. And then I'm going to have a little bit of a sprinkle on Chinnikov for 3 shots at plus 140 at DraftKings as well, just because of the usage that has been there for him over the past little bit. So those are the 2 guys that I'm riding with here tonight. I would say Tage Thompson finds the back of the net as well.
Yeah, I mean, tons of interesting players, both fantasy-wise and betting-wise in this game. Like you said, we don't need to beat a dead horse, but Columbus is not a good hockey team. Still just in turmoil, but there's tons of interesting players, young, good players. Vorkunov, we talked about last week, who I love, who Troy's been talking about, which seems like a decade. Obviously, Marashenko is a guy that we love, can really rifle the puck. I'm going with Marashenko to score, and I'm going with Johnny Gaudreau. Johnny Gaudreau has not been himself, doesn't look like himself, doesn't look like the player. I don't know if he's hurt. That was the only thing that would make sense to me. He chose to go to Columbus, right? This is where he picked to play. He could have chose anywhere, and he chose Columbus. And from everything I understand about the arena and the community, it's a great place to live. It's a great place to play. It's a really cool town. I mean, I've been there several times in my life, in and out, usually for wrestling, but I can say I've never had a bad time there. It's a really cool city, kind of just dropped in the middle of Ohio. Columbus is not a good team, but Gaudreau has got to get right at some point. I think he's this could be the start of it. I'm hoping, anyways. The NHL is a better place when Johnny Gaudreau is putting up points and is a better player. And the truth is, for me, betting wise on FanDuel, he's plus 250. I mean, think about if you would have said that 2 years ago. That you're getting Johnny Gaudreau at plus 250 to score a goal. I mean, you're hammering it. And I understand this year nobody's hammering it, and I'm not hammering it either. But the fact that it's 250, I'm going for it. He's just as likely to score as anybody else. Still playing important minutes for them, and they want him to be Johnny Gaudreau. They're paying him to be, and he just hasn't been. And hopefully that this is the beginning of something good. I love the Benson call. I'm going another way with a player that a lot of people are talking about and should be. You mentioned him with the +3 shots is Peterka. He's been great. Like, all of a sudden you just blink and like it seems like Buffalo Sabres are just manufacturing these really good offensive young players, right? It's just one after another, and it's really cool. Again, the NHL is for sure a better place when the Buffalo Sabres are a good team. They're a long ways from that yet, but the personnel is there. I think, kind of getting, the right system and getting some experience from some of these young players and getting the right goaltender at the right time is going to change everything for this team. Devin Levi very well could be that guy. On the Buffalo side, I'm going Tage at +140 and Peterka at +210.
Yeah, I think I agree with everything that you said. It's finding a save at the moment. Of course, they were without Tage Thompson for a little bit, and then they're without Alex Tuck. So those guys have also regressed. So they've taken a step back, and they can't afford to have their two best players take a step back. But I watched them the other night against Vegas, and I was just extremely impressed, not only with Benson. We mentioned he's a top pick. I mean, he's definitely going to be a really good player in the league. But also that second line of Peterka, who has been basically automatic in terms of the shot prop game over the past little bit. Same with Rasmus Dahlin. That second line with Cousins and Middlestat and Peterka, they had a really good game against a great team in Vegas that plays a great brand of 5-on-5 hockey. If they can get some saves from Levi, he's shown signs, right? It's been inconsistency, also some injuries there, but if they can get some consistency with him between the pipes, maybe they will make a bit of a run here in the second half, but maybe the losses have just piled up too much for them to get in. You mentioned Gaudreau, a +260 I'm seeing over at Bet365 or BetMGM rather. I think it's a pretty good call, right? Because of the upside that he has, the ice time too. Like, he's going to be leaned on here with some other guys that are hurt. How about even just a point at -110? How the times have changed, right? The days of the season that he had in Calgary with Tkachuk and Lindholm, of course, those guys, like all three of them will probably be, Lindholm probably next to go. But Gaudreau was never -110 for a point. He was always, 1.5. He moved to 1.5. But he's -110 at BetMGM and DraftKings for a point. And he does have points in back-to-back games. He's got 6 here over the last 9 games. It's okay. It wasn't on my radar, but I like it. I like the call. Bet365, I just want to give a little bit of love to the users there because we have been hitting some same game parlays, and hopefully this is a trend here. The past few days have been really good in the NHL. Hope to keep this up. Maybe we're just hot right now. We were certainly cold before you returned. You're my good luck charm, I'd say. Thompson and Tuck for a point, +110 at 365. Tuck and Thompson for 2 points each, 9-1 at 365. You can have some fun with this one. Tage Thompson, Tuck, and Benson all for a point at 3-1, or all of them to have 2 points each at 50-1. And then I have Chinnikov and Marchenko for points at +260 over at Bet365. Joshua, yes, the article should be live. If you're just joining us now, this is all on me. The show's late because of me. The article's late because of me, and I lost power. So I just got that out. There's 4 bets in there. Benson and Chinnikov are 2 of the 4. I have some bonus plays in there as well. And I believe there's a link inside the description of this video bringing you to the article. Yes, every Tuesday and every Thursday. Okay, let's keep things going here. I want to go to New Jersey because there's a couple things I want to talk about in this game here tonight. Let's just actually we'll start with the odds and we'll tee up the game. And I have a couple questions for you. So Jersey at home, pretty big favorites, total at 6.5. And we have the Flyers checking in as road dogs, of course. The number has changed, though. It's minus 160 for the Devils and plus 143 for Philadelphia. New Jersey has been just extremely inconsistent, man. Like, I know that they were without Jack Hughes for a little bit. They're not getting the goaltending at all. I believe Vanacek is now dealing with an injury. So this is an opportunity maybe for Schmid to take over the net. We'll see if he can get it done, because he's also been very, very inconsistent. He checks in with an .897 save percentage and a 3.12 goals against average. The Flyers have gotten better goaltending. They've been more consistent. They've been more sound. I want to talk to you about Toffoli for a second. He's minus 135 for a point. I just think this is a good buy low window, maybe in season long. I mean, he's got 23 points and 13 goals in 29 games. But I'm hearing some rumblings on Twitter and people asking me about Toffoli and really about Timo Meier. But Toffoli, 1 point in his last 8 games. This time last week, he was minus 200 for a point. He's still skating alongside Jack Hughes, who's third in the league in points, 1.54. He's still playing on the first power play. He's got 11 points in 14 home games. He averages more ice time at home compared to on the road. The Flyers, as I mentioned, have been impressive. There was a matchup earlier in the season against the Flyers in Philly, I believe, where he had a goal, an assist, and 4 shots. So he's at home. Him and Hughes should avoid the tight checking of Sean Couturier, who's one of the best defensive forwards in the game still. So I'm going to jump on Toffoli at minus 135 for a point. I'm going to jump on him for 3 shots at minus 135 for DraftKings. You guys know I'm in on Hughes. I'm going to take it every time. He's plus 120 for 5 shots. He's plus 135 for 2 points. And I like Jesper Bratt for an assist at minus 115. The player I want to talk to you about is Timo Meier. So Timo Meier has 0 points in the last month, 5 weeks. I know he missed a little bit of time. He's averaging 17 minutes per game, which is the fewest he's had since 2018. I tweeted it out earlier that, people are dropping him, and Yahoo's ownership's around 80%. This is a second-round pick in Hockey League. So I had tweeted that I wasn't sure if he was worth buying low. Got a little bit of pushback, I think, from Devils Nation saying he's playing through an injury. He'll turn it around. It's a good buy low window. And I do believe it is a good buy low window. Like, at least the opportunity is there to buy him in season long. Do you want to acquire him? I don't think anybody should drop him. I think you should be a little bit more patient and wait. But somebody said, listen, Sharon Govich is on my waiver wire right now. I'm considering dropping Timo Meier for Sharon Govich. Somebody else just tweeted now and said, Meier and Toffoli are sitting on my waiver wire in a 10-team league right now. Should I pick them up for McCann and Zuccarello? I say definitely Toffoli. Where are you at with Meier? Is what you see is what you get. He's never going to, because in San Jose, he just 21, 22, 23 minutes a game. Like, that's just, the usage is not going to be the same in New Jersey. And he hasn't been good since they acquired him.
Yeah. That would, I think, be probably the number one point is the system, the city. I mean, just sometimes players just don't fit, and he's seemed that way since getting there. This is a guy that we've loved. I mean, I feel like when he was playing in San Jose, like, we couldn't go a show without talking about.
No, he's like 10 shot attempts a game. It's just, always doing things.
Dude, and he was, and I believe, physically is still the same player, but just mentally he's not there, and he's checked out. The Devils are handling it exactly how they should. Like, I get you're paying him a ton of money, but you can't just keep running this guy out there for 20 minutes a game if he's not producing. You've got to try something else, and that's what they're doing. I think if you laid it out perfectly, if you've drafted this guy, the draft equity you spent on Timo Meier means he's just not droppable at this point. I do not believe that this is the player that he is. I do not believe that he will continue to be this player. But when this ends, I don't know. And it could be the rest of the year. He may have to be traded and go somewhere else to turn back into the Timo Meier that we believe he can be. As of now, everything says to me, you don't want this player. Like, if you're in a deeper league, like you got 3 full lines and 10 guys on your bench, then I think he's probably worth an ad. But if you're playing with, 8 players and 5 people on your bench, I mean, he's an anchor. He's just a waste of a position. You'd be better off of streaming guys that can fill in other categories, a couple times a week than to be bothered. He's not doing anything, right? Like he's not hitting. He's just not doing anything. He's a negative, right? He's just an anchor. So I would say stay away from him. As far as that goes, what you said about Toffoli, we are in lockstep, have loved this player forever. It really, when you watch him play, it doesn't even make sense that he's this good, right? Not a great skater, not fast, not, a crazy elite shot. He's an average looking player to the eye, but just gets the puck to go and always has been able to. One of those guys.
He's scoring.
He's scoring, and I've got him to score. I got Heischer to score as well, centering the top six and centering that top power play. Love Nico Heischer. I know scoring isn't his thing, but he does do it on a semi-regular basis, and I think he could do it again tonight. Connect me at plus 200, and someone to really pay attention to right now mostly because of the odds, but secondarily because of where he's playing is Morgan Frost, playing on the second line and playing on Philadelphia's top power play. You're going to play on a top power play and you're plus 420 to score. Sign me up every time.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. It's good odds. It's a good call. I like the Devils to get this done tonight. Minus 120, a win in 60, I think is fine. Again, they haven't been great, man. They haven't been consistent at all. They got a young blue line, really. I like Nemec and Luke Hughes. I like those guys and the prospects. Yep. They're going to be fine players in the league, but let's be real. They're playing heavy minutes right now. And their defensive game is not fantastic at the moment. But I do like the Devils here to win the game. And yeah, I think if you see Toffoli on the waiver wire, you pick him up in a 10-team league. I think the same thing for Timo Meier. I would just be hesitant to buy Meier. I'd rather buy Toffoli. You're right. He's not the quickest guy. I still think he has an above average shot, but he's just streaky like most players, man. This guy will go 8 games with 1 point and next week he'll score 7 goals. That's the type of player that he is. And this is still a top 5 offensive squad in New Jersey to kind of get it done here. So move on from it. I think I mentioned Brad. I like Brad. He's just been piling up all the assists. He's been shooting a lot as well. Okay. Wanted to get your thoughts on some players that are interestingly getting dropped in fantasy hockey. Let's go to Arizona. Let's go. Finally happened. I don't like anybody to lose their job, especially at this time of the season. But, man, it was a long time coming, I think, for DJ Smith. I think it would have happened earlier. New ownership. They got to figure all these things out before they hire coaches. I think that Jacques Martin is just an interim. I believe he's just an interim at the moment. This guy, of course, used to coach the Ottawa Senators back in the early 2000s. Of course, you remember those Battle of Ontarios, right? I know you do. Patrick Lalime between the pipes, Alfredson and Spezza and Hossa against Matt Sundin and forget what other Leafs are. Joe Nieuwendyk was on the squad. I think I remember one of those battles of Ontario. It was always good. And the Sens I always thought the Sens were a better team. They had the better regular season teams, but then when they played Toronto, they just could not beat the Leafs. Anyways, I'm going to ride a trend that I've followed for years in the NHL. When there is a firing behind the bench,
every time.
Typically see a team. Yeah, we've seen it with Edmonton this year. We've seen it with Minnesota this year, and we even seen it with the Blues in the first game or two. They were definitely much tighter defensively. I love the Coyotes. I know you're going to say this is an Arizona and an Ottawa show. This is a tough game, I think, for maybe you and some of the viewers to call here. But I like the Sens. I like them to win this game. I think they have a lot of issues. It's not just on Smith. I'll be interested to see how the lines shape up over the next couple of days. I do not believe that Jacques Martin is the answer. I think he's kind of a fossil at this point. But I'm in on Batherson. Batherson for a point is a little bit juiced at minus 140. I do like Josh Norris on that second line. I like the Sens to win tonight. I think we'll see a big game from the captain, Brady Tkachuk.
We're locked up with the Brady Tkachuk thing. Love this player. I believe he scores tonight, plus 130. And I'm going to go with Josh Norris as well. Really good player who's been, fairly inconsistent. And I think a lot of that has to do with injury. But when he plays and he's healthy, he's a really, really good player. A diamond in the rough, right? Not enough people are talking about how good Josh Norris is and can be when he's right. On the Arizona side, of course, I'm going with Clayton Keller, the unsung hero of the NHL. I mean, he's a superstar player. If this guy plays in New York or Toronto or someplace, every single person who follows hockey knows who he is. But the truth is he plays in the desert in a high school gymnasium. Sorry, Clint. But that's just the reality. It's just the reality. I hope that they get the arena that they're talking about, but
I hope they do too.
Once, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm falling for it. Not at this point. Yeah. And I'm going with my guy, Austin Krause, who's having a really good season for Arizona.
Nice. I'm hanging on to Krause in one league, a bangers league. I don't expect too much, but he is having a really good season, and I like that he puts pucks on net and he throws his body around. I'm here for that kind of stuff.
In a league like that, it's automatic, right? Like he's getting something for you no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. Tim Stützle, Brady Tkachuk, and Drake Batherson to all pick up a point over at Bet365 is plus 175. And a Giroux and Josh Norris playing together on the second line is plus 145. And Keller and Schmaltz is just a little bit too juice, but actually it's not too bad. It's one of the better numbers that I've seen over the past couple of weeks is plus 100 for those guys to pick up a point. Do we know who's in net for the Sens? Like that's a big thing too. Like Korpisalo has been very disappointing for the Senators this season. Yep. And I have him and I've dropped him in a couple spots. I've hung on to him, just be like, oh, I'll ride this thing out. I'll be patient. But
it's projected Korpisalo, but it hasn't been confirmed yet. Ingram is going for the Coyotes. That's been confirmed.
Ingram's a stud. Yeah.
Korpisalo, it's projected, but who knows?
If people need help in net, as I know that there's been some struggling goalies and some injuries, Kochetkov, it's like last chance to kind of get him in Carolina. We can transition over to that game right now, Carolina and Vegas. And also, like if you're an Oettinger owner, I think, for me, I own quite a bit at Oettinger. I went to Scott Wedgwood immediately. And then we mentioned Schmid earlier. The Devils, like, maybe they'll turn things around, be consistent. Maybe I think that there's a higher ceiling with him over Vanacek. But those are a couple goalies, I suppose, that you could go out and pick up and just hopefully Oettinger is not going to be out too long. But I know he's listed as week to week. Let's go to Carolina, Vegas and Carolina. I actually don't have a lot in this game. I don't know. Like I'm big on points lately as opposed to shot props. And this one is just a game where two teams just don't give up a whole lot. But I will say ever since the Carolina Hurricanes had that, closed door meeting, we've seen this team, especially Martin Necas. We talked about him, I think last week. We were, waiting, saying what's going on with him, what's happening. They still lost back-to-back games. But I think they've been a little bit better between the pipes, and although your Preds put 6 on them the other night. Martin Necas, Sebastian Aho's got goals, and he's got 4 goals over his last 4. He's got at least 3 shots in 4 straight games as well. On the other side, I think because of the matchup, we're getting a pretty good numbers on Jonathan Marchessault. I haven't seen Jonathan Marchessault plus 100 for a point all year long. And BetMGM has him at plus 100 for a point, and he's minus 118 for 3 shots. I mean, he's got 4 shots in 3 of his last 4. He went through a run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of his last 9. He's had at least 4 shots on goal, and he's been hitting the score sheet. I mean, he's got points in 6 of his last 8. He's got 3 multi-point games over that span. He's got 6 goals. So we're getting a player who's in good form, likes to shoot it. I get it. It's Carolina. They're stingy at 5-5. As much as I mentioned Kochetkov has had a couple decent games, they still have had issues all year long keeping the puck out of their net. So I'm going to ride with the value that I see in Marchessault, and I like where Necas is at as well. So if I'm picking a goal scorer, Necas or Aho, I think Vegas is alive at plus money on the road.
Yeah. Again, we're in lockstep. Marchessault is at plus 210 on FanDuel to score. Yes, please. Eichel at plus 135. I'll take that. He has turned into the Jack Eichel that everybody was hoping that he was going to be. He's just an unbelievable player. One of my favorite guys to watch. Effortless skater, powerful skater, smart with the puck, competitive. I mean, he is an unbelievable hockey player and really fun to watch. Carolina side. Again, we're in lockstep. Aho at 140. He's been kind of like one of the only bright spots for them. In the last couple of weeks, they've been bad. And Brendan Morris let him have it, and he should. And I'm going to go with Jarvis at plus 220 because he's playing some important minutes for them and playing on that top power play.
What do you think about the total? Under 6.5 is a little bit juiced. I kind of lean that way, though. I know we just talked about the goaltending, but the way that both of these teams play 5-5, I could see some sort of like 2-1, 3-2 type of game here tonight.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. And I mean, Carolina plays that way. I think Vegas is one of those teams, and I mean, this is a cliche thing, but it really is. Vegas will kind of play you any which way you want to play them. You want to play run and gun, then they'll play it. You want to play bottom up defense. You want to play physical. They've got an answer for everything, which is how and why they won the Stanley Cup last year and why they've been such a good team all year. They can do whatever it is that you want to do. So I think this is going to be a pretty tight game. I just don't think there's going to be a ton of goals.
Could be a lot of goals between the Edmonton Oilers and the New York Islanders. How about the Oilers the other night putting up like 90 shot attempts and 50 some odd shots against Tampa Bay, allowing 22 and losing 7-5 or 8-5 or whatever it was. Like, this team has a massive, massive issue between the pipes. I know you follow Mike Kelly. Mike Kelly is he's fantastic.
He's so good.
You see a lot of his work over at NHL Network, and a shout out to Sports Logic. I did some work for them in the past as well. We could have tried to get Mike Kelly on the show. I know he follows both of us. Really good dude.
Yep.
He tweeted out
on a flight, and is a great guy. Invited him to come to my house when the draft was here. He had too much stuff going on, but yeah, really, really cool guy and just smart, man. I could listen to him talk about hockey all day.
Oh yeah, super smart. So this is a stat that Sport Logic has that I was unaware of until earlier in the year, and I saw him tweet it out over the first couple of weeks. But of course, the sample size was small, and we got a little bit of a larger one now. He says, well, he showed a graphic of the top 5 goalies in steal percentage. So he explains steal percentage. It's basically stolen wins, goals saved above expected, greater than goal differential in the game. And 3 of the 5 goalies are Montreal Canadian goalies. Number 1 is Charlie Lindgren, who's a former Hab prospect. Shout out to St. Cloud. And I really liked him in Montreal back in the day. He's been awesome. 11 starts. He's got 4 steals. It's like 36% steal rate. Number 2 is Caden Primo. He's got 6 starts, 2 steals. Number 3 is Joseph Wall, who was great. Of course, the injury, unfortunately for him. Number 4 is Jake Allen. Number 5 is Montembeault. 3 of the 5 are Habs goalies. The only guy that started back-to-back games for them is Montembeault. They continue to rotate through 3 goalies. I think Edmonton needs to call Kent Hughes and see if Jake Allen is available, because I actually think he could help out a lot of teams. There's a good dozen teams across the league that are fighting for saves. Injuries have piled up. I don't know if the asking price is too high. I would assume that Kent Hughes will move Jake Allen, roll with Montembeault and Caden Primo here. They're rebuilding, and the goaltending is slowing down the rebuild because, as Mike tweets out, he says the Canadians are 2 points back of wildcard spot and they're 4th in the Atlantic because of their goaltending. It's like, stop it. This team is not going to be a playoff squad. I don't need them to just miss the playoffs by 4 points. On the flip side, they have played a lot of games, and they're still like 4 or 5 game losing streak away from being having a top 3 pick. But I just thought that was very interesting as we move over to this game here tonight, because clearly the Islanders are getting good goaltending from Sorokin and Varlamov. Their 5-5 numbers have not been good. We talked about that all year long. They're not the same team. They give up a lot of high-quality chances, but they are shooting at a high rate. They are scoring goals themselves as well. Bo Horvat, Brock Nelson, these guys are having really good seasons, especially Brock. Again, he continues to do it as one of the most underrated centers in the league. And on the other side, ever since the coaching change happened in Edmonton and Nugent Hopkins and Hyman and McDavid were back together, these guys are just lighting the lamp. Bouchard's been consistent. The guy that's been actually pretty quiet, and I put him as a buy low candidate just because somebody asked me about Leon Draisaitl. I don't think you could get Leon Draisaitl from somebody, but maybe it's worth calling. Maybe you can package 2 or 3 guys that are punching above their weight, including Sharon Govich. Maybe even a Brock Besser to get a guy like Leon Draisaitl the other way is something that I would certainly do. But I think we're going to see goals. I like the over. I locked it in last night. I get 6.5.
I believe that too. And it's wild to say, you look at the Islanders, look at it. I'm not going to say names or point fingers, but you see this so often. It's like, oh, not New York Islanders, this boring defensive team, and they're going to lock it down. That if you're saying that still, then you're not watching or paying attention to anything.
Different style.
Clearly don't know hockey, and there's people that are getting paid to talk about hockey that are still talking about the Islanders this way, and they just haven't. And they're certainly not like that this year. Kind of a fun team to watch, really.
Yeah.
Which is, I can't remember the last time I said that about the Islanders, to be honest. And it started a bit last year, but for sure this year, this should be a really fun game. This is a Brock Nelson podcast. There's no doubt about it. He just quietly just gets it done and has done it for half a decade on the island. He's at plus 155, and Horvat is at 140. Those are the two guys I got to score for Edmonton. And like you said, Draisaitl has not been the player.
Why? He's playing with Connor Brown and Evander Kane. That's it. That's when I watched the Oilers over the past few weeks. That's what I see.
Tough draw. Tough draw. Kane is a very streak player. Connor Brown is not. He's not the answer there, and I think it has to do something. They clearly do not want to play Draisaitl and McDavid together unless they're forced to. They want to split them up. They want them both playing center. They want them both with their own line. But Draisaitl is the victim of circumstance right now. I think he could score again tonight. He was one of the most dominant players in the playoffs on one leg. That's not hyperbole.
Yeah.
He was. Yeah. It was insane, and it's still insane. I think about it. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night thinking about it, and that's both true and disturbing. It was just crazy how good he was on one leg. Yeah. One leg.
I know.
I got him, and of course I've got McDavid. Look at, man, if you're giving me plus odds at any point for him to score, I'm hammering it.
Yeah. I took a puck off the ankle the other night at beer league. I could hardly untie my skates. I can't even believe that Leon Draisaitl, and that was a soft shot. It just got me in the right spot. I can't believe Leon Draisaitl, what he did in that playoff.
It's glaring when you get hit with a puck in beer league where nobody can shoot. Right, nobody can actually shoot the puck. I mean, at best, it's moving at 50, maybe 60 miles an hour, and it cripples you. It cripples you, and it hurts so bad. And then I think about these guys. Tanev blocked a shot with his face the other day. What
a freak. He blocked 10 shots last night, Tanev.
He's
10.
I love Chris Tanev.
Yeah.
He can't play any other way. And I love that, man. I love it.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about Chris Tanev. But yeah, I think Edmonton wins this game. They need it more than the Islanders do. It's hard to believe that the Islanders, I feel like people that need goalies need to be offering stuff for Varlamov. Still a really good goalie.
Oh, absolutely. Really good goalie. And at that price would be a little bit steeper than Jake Allen, but would help a team.
Would it be, though? Varlamov is pretty old.
Yeah, I feel like he signed like a 4-year. Did he sign like a 4-year?
I don't remember.
Extension? I mean, Lou didn't sign anybody new at all. It was just I want to look it up because I'm just curious. He just brought back the same old dudes. Varlamov, I thought it was multi-year. The contract is fantastic, but it is a 4-year deal. At 35 years old, it's 2.75. Does a team want to lock themselves into that? But I don't know. I guess the Islanders are happy with just rotating through those two dudes. I'm just going to ride trends here. Brock Nelson, you mentioned him. I mean, he's got 15 goals in the season. I like him for a point. It's a little bit steep at minus 150, but he's just hitting the score sheet. He's got points in 4 straight games, 7 of his last 8. He's got 3 multi-point games over the last 4. He's got 4 over this little run. Even dating back, he went 3 games without a point. Before that, he had 3 straight with multi-point games. He's just getting it done. And the same thing with Bo Horvat. Both of these guys, I like them for 3 shots tonight. I like them to hit the score sheet. And because it's the Oilers, and I don't know why, the odds are kind of decent for these guys to pick up points and score goals tonight and to get 3 shots. On the other side, I actually like Anders Lee too. I want to give him a shout out as well, because the one time I put him in the tracker the other night, we didn't get it. But we've been talking about him in the DFS world, and he's plus 125 for a point. He's had a really, I'd say, like, his start to the season was extremely slow. But the past few weeks have been a little bit better. But if you look at the shots for him, 5-4-2, 3-4-6, the matchup isn't fantastic because even though the Oilers are allowing a lot of goals, they're not giving up a lot of quality chances, and the Islanders are. So I'm a little hesitant to dive into a lot of these Islanders shot props. But if you're looking for a plus money play, plus 125 over at Bet Rivers for Anders Lee is pretty good. I do have a little bit more confidence in Brock Nelson and Bo Horvat. But one thing I noticed with Lee, because he does not have the foot speed, when he enters the zone, he just throws pucks on the net. Like, it's not even a chance it's going to go in. He just tosses it in. The goalie kicks it off to the side in the corner, and they try to generate some sort of offense, like through cycling and whatnot. But anyways, those are the Islanders guys. For me, I think Barzal is interesting for an assist as well. I just feel like we're going to see 7+ goals. And I have been putting in Bouchard, Nugent Hopkins for assists. Now, those guys we're starting to lose the value on those numbers, but I still think that those two guys will pick up assists tonight. And if I were to pick one Edmonton Oiler for shot props, it's always Hyman. He just parks himself right in front of the net. McDavid's always looking to pass it, and it's like deflection, I don't know, rebound. It's just like sometimes Hyman has 0 shots, and then one shift or one power play, he gets 4 shots. Like, that's just what I see from Zach Hyman. So anyways, I think there's a lot of action to be had in that game. Who were your goal scorers again? You went Draisaitl? I like the call. And Brock Nelson?
I went Draisaitl and McDavid. McDavid on FanDuel is plus 115. And like I said, if you're giving me plus odds for him to score, I'm doing it. And I'm going Nelson and Horvat. I said someone just said that Horvat is day-to-day. So
I'm just running out of sheet. I'm going to flip over. Horvat is day-to-day. Did we miss that?
Jazz said Horvat day-to-day.
Okay, I'm not seeing any questionable tag. Man, my goodness, like,
me neither.
Have we, like, it just kind of surprises you sometimes when I look at somebody's game log. Like, I knew Horvat was doing well, and we jumping on Horvat, shot props and things, and you just look and it's like, wow, this guy's riding a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 game point streak. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 multi-point games over that span. The guy's shooting like a psycho, right? I'd like the addition, actually. I know that a lot of people didn't like the move, acquiring him. I liked it. I think they needed something else down the middle and more scoring fire, and he's doing it again. Like, his shooting percentage was unsustainable last year, but he's going to be another 30 goal, 25 to 30 goals. Right?
Those guys don't grow on trees.
Absolutely, they really don't. And he's like a pretty good face-off guy. He's always in the circle doing some things. All right, does everything. Okay, Nashville and Vancouver. Take it away, sir. It's your squad on home ice. Forsberg, let's go. What do you got?
Yeah, I still believe. It sounds like a homer, but the truth is the Nashville Predators are not getting the respect that they deserve. Steve Dangle and the Steve Dangle podcast. I'm looking directly at you guys. I listen to almost every episode. Those are guys really dear friends of mine, but they're always like, "Oh, Nashville, they're mid, blah blah blah." This is a good team, and yeah, I mean, they're young enough to say that. I can't say that. Look at all the gray hair I got. Anyways, look at Vancouver is a hated team here, and look at my wife still hates Vancouver to this day. None of the players that made her hate the team play on the team. Most of them are retired. Kessler,
the
Twins,
Sedins,
and Burrows. Like, none of those guys even play anymore. When she sees the Vancouver Canucks are playing the Predators, she's fired up. So we might. When I say we might, I mean I will watch that game and force her to watch it, and that's just kind of the way it goes here. Vancouver, I'm going Elias Pettersson 145 and Brock Besser at 170. Besser, we've said it. I've said it, but I'm just going to keep saying it. Yeah. They want the puck coming off of his stick.
Yeah.
Pettersson's a better player than him. Miller's a better player than him. Quinn Hughes is a better player than him. But the reality is this: the offense is designed for Brock Besser to be the shooter on the power play and anytime he's on the ice, because he's unbelievable at shooting the puck. And for whatever reason, it took people this long to figure out to put him in a position to do this and ask him to do this, but that we're there. He's at plus 170. Yes, please. Nashville, everything. Philip Forsberg, the mustache, Just an awesome, awesome player, awesome guy, awesome person in the community. He's at plus 185 or 165. I love that. And Ryan O'Reilly has been unbelievable for them. Really good signing for them. Awesome in the room. It's obvious. And there's tons of young players, but he's at plus 220 to score. That line of him, Forsberg, and Nyquist has been, I mean, there's not another word to say it. It's just been really dominant in both analytically and to the eye test. They're a really, really good unit. And I'm wearing my Juuso Parsons jersey. And I don't think he's going to score tonight, but I love Juuso Parsons.
Man, Nyquist is a guy that I think we've chatted a couple conversations about him. He's been in the tracker a few times this year. He is a great player. He's getting an opportunity. Like if you just look at the usage rate, I think he spent I forget, he bounced around a couple different teams last year, but the minutes are there, the top line minutes.
He showed up first. Yeah, I was going to say it showed up. I want to say it was his rookie year, and Detroit was brutal. And he was playing and like scoring every game. And I like basically I put him on every one of my fantasy teams, and I dominated in fantasy hockey that year because I had this guy that nobody knew about. He's played at Columbus. He's played a couple other places. But when he showed up, he looked elite. And I'm not saying that Gustav Nyquist is elite, but he's a very, very
he's got
good
scoring
player.
touch. Yeah.
Very good player.
That rookie season, I'm looking at 28 goals, 48 points in 57 games. I do remember that. And he had like a 19% shooting rate. It was Columbus and Minnesota last year where he bounced around, right? He just had, it was a very small sample size with the Wild, but he only played 14 minutes per game. He's playing 17 minutes per game here with Nashville. He's minus 105 for a point. I think it's pretty intriguing. And I've been doing some same game parlay stuff with Forsberg and Ryan O'Reilly, right? That's plus 150 for those guys to hit the score sheet. I noticed what you've noticed. Yep. Ryan O'Reilly's been fantastic. Great pickup. It's not like Ryan O'Reilly with the Leafs, third line center, second line wing, whatever. It's Ryan O'Reilly like the Blues. Top minutes, top power play, top PK, all situations. I got Brock Besser for 3 shots at minus 112. I got Forsberg plus money for 4 shots. I like JT Miller for an assist. And I like Nyquist for a point. I like the call that you had there. I think Nashville wins the game, but you are right to kind of call out the boys and everybody else because this Preds team is playing really good hockey. They've won 4 straight. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They got 36 points, which is just 3 behind the Jets, and they're hanging in there. We love LA on this show. LA has 38 points, so like that just goes to show how well this Predators team is playing right now.
And they had a brutal start, right? Like I mean, just absolutely like the first 10 games they looked awful. But basically from 10th game on, they've been a very, very good team, and not enough people are talking about it.
We do like the Leafs and the Rangers over 6 goals. And yes, I also like Buffalo and Columbus over 6 goals as well with the goaltending that's happening over there as well. It looks like we got a new guy in the chat asking for some stuff. I mean, if you're here for shots, we got shots, good sir. We've been doing some shot prop stuff, and let's head on. He's just asking all kinds of questions. So we've been rolling through all the games. We've given some picks and some plays. We're wrapping up here now. We're going to recap with some of our plays. We have a link inside the description of this video, bringing you over to ftmbets.com, a free article with a few NHL picks. And we have all kinds of picks across all sports, NBA, NHL. It's all happening over at ftmbets.com. Let's go to Minnesota and Boston. The Wild played last night. I was surprised, man, they didn't have Marc-Andre Fleury between the pipes against the Penguins. I was like, what are you doing here? You're playing the very next night. The whole fan base in Pittsburgh is screaming and chanting for Fleury. Why not just give him a go? Why not just play him against the Pens? Gustav wasn't any good anyways, so he made the wrong call, Gustafsson. Anyways, second half of a back-to-back, tough in Boston. Kind of have a feeling to the under. Don't really think we'll see a lot of goals. I would expect the Bruins to win the game, but I really like some of the changes that Minnesota has made. One in particular, Matt Boldy has just been buried on the second line, playing with nobody for like 2 years. Now he's on that first line with Joel Eriksson Ek and Kaprizov, and I like it. I like it a lot. I mean, they've moved Matt Zuccarello off. Zuccarello's a fine player, but come on, Boldy's got a higher ceiling. He should be getting larger minutes, and he really should be playing with their best player, and that's Kaprizov. So I like Boldy kind of continue. I don't really love a lot from this game because it is the Bruins and they're stingy. They don't give up a whole lot. But if there's one guy I'm going to pick on the Minnesota side, it is Boldy. I liked Morgan Geekie's game lately. It sounds like Pavel Zacha is going to return tonight, so I think he's in play for an assist tonight, and I have a lean to the over on Marchand shots. I played Joel Eriksson Ek for 4 shots last night. He burned me, but he has been pretty consistent. If you want to go back to somebody, it's a really tough matchup for him tonight against Boston. What you got?
Yeah, really tough. And, Minnesota hasn't been good. They've been better since the coaching change.
They got no defense, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild. It's wild in Minnesota right now. And it's going to get tougher because of the salary cap situation and all the other stuff that they got going on. Good luck.
Ice stuff going on, too, with
Wild
Bill
fans.
Guerin.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Minnesota side, I'm going Kaprizov plus 185. And here's another person I want to really bring to the light. You talked about him last week, and a guy that I love and has really started growing me and has really shown up this year for them is Marco Rossi. Look, man, he's plus 450. That is not a typo. That is not a mistake. Plus 450. He's centering the top line and, most importantly, centering the top power play. I get that Boston is stingy, but they take penalties just like anybody else. I think if Minnesota is going to score, that's how they're going to want to do it. And he's centering the top power play. So, and at 450, I mean, that's something I might, when at the end of the show here, I might do one of those, I put stars beside these players. And I got 4 guys that I really want to bring up. There's 2 that I haven't brought up yet, but I brought up Morgan Frost and Marco Rossi so far. I'm going to put them in a parlay to score together and make a bunch of money and retire.
I like Rossi. I'm hanging on to him in a deeper format. I see the upside there. Matt Zuccarello is questionable to play in this game, so we'll see. I know he didn't play last night. He's considered a possibility to suit up tonight. So we'll see what the lines do look like. As of now, Daily Faceoff does have Hartman and Johansson with Marco Rossi, but I love the call, love the value there. Our guy George, what are you doing, bud? You jumping in the show? You got a pick or two for us you want to share with the people? No, he's just gonna hang out in the back. Oh, did I have the wrong overlay? Is that what I did? Is that what you were? Okay, yeah. You know what? It's just the way it's gone, man. It's just the way it's gone. So whatever. What else do we got here to talk about? Have we hit on every game? No, I think there's 2 more, and it's the most lopsided affairs on the slate. Actually, 3 more. Let's go St. Louis and Tampa, and then we'll wrap up with the 2 most lopsided games here on the slate tonight. What do you got between the Bolts and the Blues? And why is and you better have Jordan Kyrou on there.
I do. For the exact reason of the coaching change, right? I think they're still feeling that buzz.
The tears, the fan base all over him.
It's tough to read my writing, but I'm pretty sure FanDuel's got him at plus 230. I'm an absolute savage.
Well, there's 11 games. Look at this sheet. Look at this sheet. League. Dude, we got joining the show for the first time, asking if we like shot props and what we like in this game. It's like, dude, we like everything.
Kyrou and Shen's at plus 310 has been an important player for them all year. Tampa Bay, I'm going Kucherov and Stamkos.
I mean, how could you not go Kucherov every night? The guy's just he's been great. Jordan Kyrou, Kyle Connor is actually hurt for the next 6 to 8 weeks. George must have put him on a board for us. Jordan Kyrou, ever since the Berube firing, and you saw it all. I'm assuming you've seen everything. You're a true psycho like me. The fan base booed the hell out of him that night. Every time he touched the puck, they booed him. He picked up an assist. We've talked about his game disappearing, and I get it. Blues fans, I hear them talk about Jordan Kyrou, say the consistency's not there. He got paid. There's no effort in his game. I didn't think he said anything bad about Craig Berube. He was asked about Berube, and he said, he's not my head coach anymore, so that's it. What
it was just a quote. And look at Rutherford. He works for The Athletic. He's a great writer. He's trusted, but there's no context, right? You could read it like, oh, he's not my coach anymore. I don't know how to talk about it. Or, he's not the coach anymore, so I'm just not going to talk about it. I'm saying the same thing in 2 different ways. There is nothing wrong with what he said, and there wasn't recorded. We don't know how it was said. Poor dude, crying on national television because he's being booed for the first time in his life. I mean, you got to get a little bit thicker skin, bud. But I mean,
a little bit, yeah, a little bit.
You feel for him. He's a young guy, played his whole career there. He's a star player. I'm not going to say superstar, but he's a star player in St. Louis. And it was cool to see him get on the board and then to win and dropped an F-bomb in his interview after. That's a good way to get over with people, is just swear.
Yeah.
I do it all the time. I try not to do it. Yeah, you want the people on your side, you swear and show them that you're just like that.
Yeah. I tweeted it out after it happened, the post game, and I said something like, St. Louis doesn't deserve you. You want to come all over to Montreal? We'll take you on over to Montreal, dude. If you can't handle the booze in St. Louis, I'm sure the Belle Province is not a place for you. I'll tell you that, because they'll boo you. No. I remember Michael Camilleri saying one time when he was in New Jersey and he was asked about he had gone I think he had gone 3 weeks without a point in New Jersey. And he said, wow, I'm pretty surprised this is the first time I'm hearing about this, because I went 3 games one time in Montreal without a point, and I was on the front page of every paper to get traded out of town, because this is the difference between the hockey markets. Anyways, there's 2 ways that this could go. And I talked about it on Mean Streets and with you and in the hockey article the other day. He either just goes into the slump continues, where he can't handle the pressure of the booze, or he just pops off and gets going. And I think it's the latter. He picked up an assist in that first game. He scored a goal, like you said the other night. He's minus 130 for a point. I know it's Vasilevsky and company, but I'm going to jump on this as like a player that's going to turn things around. I was already waiting for him to turn things around. Coaching changes just spark certain players. Look at Matt Boldy. We didn't even really touch on it. Matt Boldy's been basically a point per game guy since Minnesota made that coaching change. So I like Kyrou. That's all I'm going to say for the points. I think we'll see some goals scored in this game. Okay, so the 2 lopsided affairs. I'm taking both chalky teams tonight. I got the Kings. I like the Kings to win in 60. I got them on the puck line, and I know that their game has been a little bit inconsistent lately. And I know the Sharks are playing good hockey. The Sharks are going to start to slide again. They got worked over the other night. I watched them play. I like LA. I like Quentin Byfield. Byfield's now officially juiced for, you can't take him anymore. You can't get plus money or minus 125 for a point. But I do like that line, Kopitar and Kempe tonight to pick up points. I've been doing this all year long with these 2 guys in same game parlays for both of them to pick up points. It's just, I can never, it always mind boggles me that we can get plus money on these guys to pick up a point. If you want to include Byfield in there, it's plus 180. I'm going to do a 2-point night for Kempe and Kopitar at plus 700. And if you include Byfield in there, that's 20-1. It's not as juicy as the 50-1 with the Sabres top line. I do like Granlund. I'm going to continue to ride Mikael Granlund. He's just playing so much. He's getting a lot of ice time, and the shots are piling up, and the points are as well. He's minus 115 for a point. He's plus 150 for 3 shots. And if you look at the back of the hockey card, he's been doing that consistently. And then go ahead, take it away. You got something else from this game, and then we'll wrap up with another lopsided affair.
Yeah, LA, I'm going with Kempe and Fiala to score. Fiala has not been the player that I think that he is this year, but I think at any point he could score. I like him to score here tonight. San Jose, I'm going with Hurdle, and another player that I've starred is Barabanov, guy that I love. Play on the top line, play on the top power play. He's going to get right. Was probably maybe the best player for the Sharks last season. No training camp, was hurt, but I really like him in this game.
All right. Okay, Colorado and Chicago. Another lopsided affair. The Hawks are just atrocious. They're brutal. Bedard's having a good season, man. He's doing what he can with just pitiful line mates. But anyways, that top line of Colorado tonight got Mikko Rantanen in the article at over 1.5 points at plus 110. Ever since Arturi Lekkonen's dad called this guy out, I don't know. He heard about this story too. I mean, Mikko Rantanen was so ticked off after the game, and I was like, wow, who is that regarded to? And reportedly, Arturi Lekkonen's father is a reporter in Finland, and he reportedly, I didn't read the article, he reportedly called out Mikko Rantanen's work ethic, off-season training. Anyways, Mikko Rantanen scored a goal the other night and he just went off. I was like, wow, is there bad blood in the dressing room? What is happening? Anyways, ever since that moment, it's not like Mikko Rantanen needed to be fired up to get going. He's having a great season, but he does enter tonight in a 4-game point streak. He's got 3 goals and 8 points and 18 shots over that span. He has a game with 6 shots, a game with 8 shots over the last 5. He's picked up 3 points in 2 of those 4 games. You guys don't need me to tell you that Chicago's awful, but over the last month, according to Natural Stat Trick, they are first in high danger chances allowed, second in scoring chances, and second in goals against at 5-5 per 60. And they didn't even score a goal the last time they played Colorado. So I don't care if Kale McCarr is playing or not. Like this top line, Nichushkin's been unbelievable as well. So I'm going to take a lot of these guys. Like McKinnon is juiced for 2 points, so they just go hand in hand. If McKinnon's getting 2 points, Mikko Rantanen's got a good chance to get 2 points at plus 115. And I also have in the tracker Valery Nichushkin. It is one of my favorite plays tonight. For him to get an assist at minus 110 and for him to have 2 points is plus 160. He's actually plus 100 to pick up an assist over at BetMGM. And I'm doing nothing on the Chicago side of things, but you can leave that for you.
Yeah. Because of the stats that you read off, I am also going Mikko Rantanen. I mean, FanDuel's got him at negative 110, but I got him as my lock of the night to score because Chicago's brutal and Mikko Rantanen is awesome. I did look into that thing. So apparently Lekkonen's dad, I mean, he is a commentator, and it was the translation, the English translation was kind of messed up, where he basically said like he was really busy this summer because he does a bunch of charity stuff and has businesses over there. Apparently he's been trying to get a hold of Rantanen and like emailing him and trying to call him and stuff to apologize and say that's not what I said. It was basically when it was converted to English, because that's what happens. Like, websites from here will take it and then convert it to English, but it's often the two languages don't line up. And it was basically like, oh, he was partying is kind of how the story was presented. That is not what Lekkonen's father said, apparently. I don't know any of it. I love it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's great too.
If you're a Colorado,
I just thought maybe there was some bad blood between the two guys, like it's both Finnish guys, but Mikko came out and said he loves Lecky and these guys are boys. But anyways, interesting.
Yeah, F your dad is basically what it came down to. And whatever, man. If I'm Lekkonen, I'm telling him to keep saying it because he's a better player when he's pissed off. Finnish people don't get mad for much of anything, but dude, this Rantanen's an unbelievable player. I'm not saying anything new. Another guy that I had starred is in this game, and that's Jonathan Drouin. He's playing on the second line, and he's playing on the top power play and centering the top power play. I get Jonathan Drouin is not the player that he was, but think about the people that he's playing with on that top power play for Colorado, and they're playing Chicago. Yeah, sign me up. He's at plus 370. Chicago, I'm going Bedard, and I'm going Ty Radish at plus 330.
Okay, I dig it. All right, we did it. We went through 11 games. We are 6 hours late for a show.
Yeah, not bad.
One thing that we did, you mentioned Fiala and George is hanging out in the back there, and Pierre-Luc Dubois is not having a good season in LA.
Oof.
He has not lived up to the $8+ million contract that he has. But I would have
doing. What are you doing?
Nothing. Me? Just hanging around.
Just hanging around. It's kind of what he's doing out there. He's just hanging around. I get the contract. I still think the Kings are pretty solid. They're not a team
that's better with them.
Play in the playoffs.
I don't care scoring or not. I mean, he's a very good player.
Yeah. Anyways, in a couple of years, he'll probably be that second line center as Kopitar and Danault get a little bit older in their careers. But at the moment, right now, it does look like a little bit of a lopsided contract at the moment. And lopsided is probably not the right words. We should get out of here. But this is a random question that I wanted to. Will there be more or less than 63.5 shots in the Sabres and Blue Jackets game tonight? Okay. I would say less. I would lean less. That's a high number. I know the Blue Jackets give up a whole lot. That's an interesting betting market. I don't think it's a solid one to dabble in. There's
so
really It's very unpredictable. You can look at shot attempts allowed at 5-5. You can take a look at teams that take a lot of penalties and whatnot. I would probably lean to the under on that one, but I think your money's probably better spent elsewhere for me personally, just to kind of bring that up. But I would say less. So it sounds like Hammerhead Union agrees with that as well. How come you say that? Yeah, it is. It's a tough market, man, to get into. That's a lot of shots. You're asking for basically 30 plus. You need probably overtime or a few power plays to kind of get there. Okay, I think we did it. You got some goal scores for us, and we'll wrap up with a couple other plays. So we'll let you take it away.
Yep. All right. Kreider, Panarin, Matthews, Marner, Konechny, Frost, Toffoli, Heischer, Kaprizov, Rossi, Pasternak, DeBrus, Kyrou, Shen, Kucherov, Stamkos, Eichel, Marchessault, Aho, Jarvish, Marchenko, Gaudreau, Tage, Peterka, McDavid, Draisaitl, Nelson, Horvat, Pettersson, Besser, Forsberg, O'Reilly, Rantanen, Drouin, Bedard, Radish, Kachuk, Norris, Keller, Krause, Kempe, Fiala, Hurdle, Barabanov. The 8-way Maniac parlay goes as follows: Matthews, Toffoli, Eichel, Tage, McDavid, Besser, Rantanen, and Kempe. The lock of the night is Mikko Rantanen to score.
Okay, I'm going to need you to name that 8-way again. You named every player in the NHL before that.
I did. Matthews, Toffoli, Eichel, Tage Thompson, McDavid, Besser, Rantanen, and Kempe.
I like it. I like those guys. Okay.
I was going tonight, boys.
I love this. So we're betting the entire league.
2.5 years.
To Barry. I love it. Man, it gets me every time. Puts a smile on my face. Hammerhead's like, you missed Kreider. I don't know if he missed Kreider. I think he had Kreider in the opening. Opening, just not in the 8 leg, right? Just not in the 8 leg.
He's not part of the 8 leg, no.
Okay. So for me, a couple
He's
plays.
Definitely the first name.
He's the first guy. Okay, Kreider. Okay, so for me, a couple props here. Zach Benson for a point at -110 for Buffalo. I like Rasmus Dahlin for 3 shots. I like JJ Peterka for 3 shots. I got Igor Chinnikov for a point at +110 of the Columbus Blue Jackets. I also have him in the tracker at 3 shots at +140. I'm with you and Tyler Toffoli. I think this is a buying window from a fantasy hockey standpoint and a betting market standpoint. -135 for a point. It seems juicy, but this guy was -200 just a few games ago. I know he's in a bit of a slump, but he's still playing with Jack Hughes. So I'm going to ride Toffoli for a point, Toffoli for 3 shots at -135. I like Jack Hughes for 5 shots at +120, Hughes for 2 points at +135, and Jesper Bratt for an assist. I like Mikko Rantanen for 2 points. I got Rantanen for an assist. I got Nichushkin for 2 points. I got Nichushkin for an assist at +100, and I am riding with Nathan McKinnon at 5 shots. Those are my favorite plays. Those are the ones that are in the article. There's a few more in the bet tracker. I got Brock Besser for 3 shots. I got what else do we got here? Batherson for a point and 3 shots. I got Marchessault for a point at +103 shots. I also like Martin Necas at -135. The sides that I like as we bring up this board, I am on the Devils to win in 60 in regulation. I like the over between the Rangers and the Maple Leafs. I like the under between the Carolina Hurricanes and the Vegas Golden Knights. I like Boston in 60. My favorite 2 sides are the chalkiest sides, but you can get them both at plus money to win on the puck line. That's the Kings against the Sharks on the puck line, and then the Colorado Avalanche against the Blackhawks on the puck line. I like the over between the Oilers and the Islanders, and I think we'll see the Sens win the game tonight. As we mentioned, the coaching change, we both like big nights from Brady Tkachuk and company. I'm going to pick 5 goal scorers for you guys. 5. Tyler Toffoli, I'm with you. EY on Toffoli, scoring a goal. Let's go. I like Tage Thompson, the Buffalo Sabres, scoring a goal. Let's go. I like Valerie Nichushkin for the Colorado Avalanche, scoring a goal. Let's go. There's 3. I like Brady Tkachuk. The captain's going to lead by example tonight. He really is. Yep. He's either going to have a goal or 15 shot attempts, a fight. He's doing something tonight. Brady Tkachuk, and then I like Adrian Kempe for the other goal there as well. My long shots would be some of the guys that we talked about earlier in the show, with Zach Benson, with Igor Chinnikov, maybe a Gustav Nyquist in there as well. Some guys that are playing some top line minutes on some teams that are feeling it at the moment, scoring some goals. All right, we are the same game parlay stuff, man. Like it's been pretty good and it's been hitting. I've been pretty happy with where we're at over the past little bit. I would take a look at Thompson and Tuck. I would go Mika Zibanejad and Chris Kreider, Toffoli and Hughes. I stay away from Carolina and Vegas, but the Stone and Eichel and the Aho and Jarvis combos are really cooking. The Hyman, McDavid, and Ryan Nugent Hopkins has been plus money throughout this entire run, and those guys are scoring goals. The Bo Horvat and Matthew Barzal is in play. The Forsberg and Ryan O'Reilly is in play. We talked about Brock Besser and JT Miller have been really good. And then I would say that the Senators and Drake Batherson, Tim Stützle and Brady Tkachuk, and then the Kempe and Kopitar is probably my favorite one. It's my go-to every single night. But I'd say the top five are Kopitar and Kempe, Tkachuk and Stützle, Miller and Besser, the Edmonton Oilers top line, and I like Tage Thompson and Tuck tonight. I like them tonight as well. Okay, we're out of here. We got to get going. We got to get this show on iTunes and Spotify. Rate, review, subscribe. We want to give away an NHL jersey to you guys. If you're just joining the show, it's simple. Subscribe to our YouTube page. Screenshot that you've subscribed to the YouTube page, as well as iTunes or Spotify. It's super easy to rate, review, and subscribe. It takes 2 seconds. Send that screenshot over. If you've already done it, just send it over if you want to get in on the draw for the NHL jersey. Mean Streets ftn@gmail.com. meanstreetsftn@gmail.com. Screenshot, send that over to me. We'll draw on Thursday's episode. We'll give away an NHL jersey to one lucky winner, and then top 3 for an NHL betting package. And I got a good feeling that this user is going to like the NHL betting package because he likes picks. So welcome in. All right, we're out of here. We'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good one. Cheers.